Hi, and welcome back to your Bachelorette recap. I'm Elena.
I'm Amanda.
Today we are covering week 6 of The Bachelorette. This episode was uneventful, I guess, to say the least. But we'll get right into it. Starts off there in Switzerland, and this week they're picking, the roses are for hometown, so the dates are, high pressure. And Rachel comes in to see the guys, and she says they're going to do things a little differently this week. There's not going to be a rose ceremony, but she's going to have 3 one-on-one dates and a 3-on-1 group date. So she kicks it off with the first one-on-one, which was with Brian.
Now, okay, you would think this episode is going to be so intense and just like jam-packed with like all kinds of drama or just, things going on. But to me, it kind of felt like a filler episode.
Now, next week looks intense.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this was kind of just like the transition, because I'm pretty sure, without saying who goes home, I think you have an idea of who goes home.
So the first one-on-one is Brian, of course. And,
I feel like he just got a date.
Yeah. He was going to get a one-on-one. Let's be honest. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's so perfect.
So their one-on-one starts out where they go out and he sees this really nice Bentley, and it is a nice car, and he's like, oh my god, are we going to be riding that? And yeah, they drive it around the city. They stop at this very expensive watch store, and I don't remember the name of it, but
I don't remember either.
it was pretty snazzy.
They just got to look at the watches, and they were trying some on, and they picked out like a matching pair, and Rachel ended up buying them, so whippy. Cuts back to the house. There was a lot of that this episode too, with the guys talking.
Saying the same thing.
Right. Adam and Matt were talking to each other, and they're like, we haven't gotten a one-on-one date, and they're jealous about it. And then it cuts to Peter and Dean talking.
Peter was upset that he didn't get the first one-on-one, but chill. There's more to come.
And Dean was just saying how he doesn't know why Rachel would want a guy like Brian. I don't think he specifically said what he meant by that, but he thinks he's a smooth talker, so.
Well, he does do a lot of talking.
He does, yeah.
He knows exactly the right things to say, which I like Brian, I think. He seems like a really great guy, but because of all of the smooth talking, it has me a little worried.
It does kind of put you on guard, and Rachel has even said, like, oh, I don't know, because you just seem so perfect, and you just sweet talk me, like, maybe it's not genuine, but he says it is.
That is said on every date that they go on.
Yeah.
It's just so perfect, and,
Yep.
I'm like, so why are the other guys here?
They're on repeat with it's perfect thing.
Yeah. How about you dig a little deeper? So when it cuts to the guys talking about how Brian got the one-on-one, they get another date card. And on that date card, it is a one-on-one, and it is with Dean. Okay, so the guys were just complaining about not getting a one-on-one, and the date card comes in, and they read it, and it's for Dean, and Dean looks over at Adam, and he's like,
don't punch me.
Don't punch me. And Adam's just like, I just don't get it.
I thought for sure there was going to be a one-on-one with Adam and a one-on-one with Matt, because we haven't seen anything about these guys. We, do not know them, except Adam has the Adam Jr. doll, and Matt was dressed up as a penguin the first night. That's literally all we know, And I'm like, we didn't get to see if they even like have a relationship. I mean, they must since they're here, but we don't know anything about them. And they seem like really nice guys, so I'm kind of confused on why we didn't see enough of them.
Because the very small clips that we do see of them, I'm like, Matt's a really down-to-earth guy. And she even says it in the video. So I'm like, you know, there's still that one last one-on-one, and we're hoping.
Right. But we know now that not both of them will get one, so that's a little disappointing.
So then it goes back to Brian and Rachel at their dinner.
At the dinner, they take this opportunity to kind of talk about hometowns and like what to expect. Rachel wants to ask him like, will your family accept me, which they've already gone over like 2 weeks ago, and how will this go? And he's like, oh, well, my family's really loving and accepting, they'll accept you.
Which
like,
is good.
Yeah. And she just kind of asks like, what about the last girl that you brought home? And he said that their relationship was kind of similar to that. It was really fast, really quick, and I guess he took her to like a family wedding, but I guess she like didn't get along with his mom, or like couldn't meet her halfway, he said. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, we don't know, like, we don't know the dirt. Like,
right, the specifics. But apparently they didn't get along, and they broke up shortly after that, and he just expressed that he's kind of scared it'll happen again.
Which, it could.
It could, yeah, but he got the rose, obviously.
Of course. There was a lot of making out during that
The whole
date.
thing.
The whole date. Like, my notes are, they go to the watch store, she buys him a watch, make out session. They go on a boat ride, make out session. He gets the rose, make out session. It's like, we get it. You guys are attracted to each other. We get it.
They're really long clips, though. They really want you to watch them, and I'm like,
yeah, it's a little
kind of down.
The next one-on-one is with Dean, and the note says to wear your Sunday's best. And so he comes walking out in this nice white shirt and dress pants and looks so cute.
Mm-hmm. She tells him, we're going to go to church, and it's a Catholic church, and it's going to be in French, and I don't think either of them know French. So she's like, we can leave if it gets boring. And he said, no, we won't do that.
He's such a good boy. He's like, we will not leave the church. I'm like, oh, he's such a good boy.
We love Dean so much. So they go to church. After that, they're just kind of like walking around town. They were like dancing at one point. However, when you see Dean, he looks very in his head.
You can just tell throughout the date that he is nervous about something.
Right.
And throughout the whole time, you know, they're cutting to like interviews with him, and he's just like, he's so worried about possibly her meeting his family.
Yeah, he doesn't have, he said, a traditional family. We know that his family kind of drifted apart after his mother died, but he was just really upset about the whole family thing. He said he felt like a black sheep compared to the other guys, because the other guys are like really excited for hometowns, and he's like, my family isn't like great.
So then it cuts to the men at the house again. Peter and Eric are talking about how Dean may not come back from his date,
and how he might not be husband material, probably because he is 25, which I think's ridiculous.
Yeah. So then they go back to Dean and Rachel, and they're sitting down at this really nice table, and she says, you know, I want you to ask questions about me, get to know me more, you know, and he's just so in his head, so nervous, and he's like, do you believe in the tooth fairy? And she's like, I really want you to talk about your feelings. She's like, I know you get nervous and you laugh. And she's like, but I want to get to know you. And he's like, what's your favorite dinosaur?
She's like, come on, Dean, be serious.
Yeah,
and he goes,
like,
you're so pretty.
You're so pretty. He is so scared. So then, again, it cuts back to the men at the house. Another date card comes, and this one is another one-on-one. And, of course, who do you think got it?
Goes to Peter. So, Matt and Adam did not get a one-on-one, and hometowns are next week. Yeah. Crazy.
So, Eric thinks that the 3 one-on-ones are the top 3 men. If they all come back, he's like, that lets me know that they're the top 3. Mm-hmm. And so he's a little worried. Goes back to Dean and Rachel.
And this time they're at dinner.
You could see something was off.
Yeah.
She
could tell. And she's just like, come on, like, tell me. And he was like, well, what's really bothering me.
It's broken my heart. It's so sad.
He was talking about his family and how he really likes Rachel, but he doesn't want her to kind of come home with him just because his family, he said, isn't the kind of hometown she wants.
Yeah, he said, I really, really like you, but my family's not the family you want to see.
She goes on to say, well, she understands where he's coming from because he's already explained how his family kind of fell apart after his mom died, and she said, I already have my family. I'm not looking for a family just like mine. I'm good, but I just want to meet people that are important to you. So that made him feel a little better about it. I think that, he's obviously still nervous, though, for her to meet his family.
He was saying how his dad is kind of eccentric.
Yeah.
And we didn't really get what,
Yeah, he didn't exactly elaborate
go in on it. But he gets the rose. So then, Peter's date.
It starts off with them getting into a helicopter and just flying over Switzerland, and
which was beautiful.
Very. They were in the mountains.
She had mentioned, she was like, you were on the first one-on-one and now
you're the last.
And he was like, I know, I've been waiting a long time.
He's like, I've been in my head plenty. So they land in Glacier 3000, and they're gonna be dog sledding. It's completely white. Their whole background is just completely white.
They just stick out.
They didn't show much of the dog sledding. They just kind of ran through that real quick and got right to them talking to each other. And Peter was talking about how he's had some bad days waiting for this one-on-one and how he's thought about leaving. She said, being in your position before, I thought about leaving too on bad days, but I'm glad you stuck through it.
That was basically it. That's all we saw of the day, and then until dinner. And then it goes straight to dinner. She wants to know about his ex.
Right. And he basically said that his ex didn't really meet his family. They didn't have a formal introduction, I guess. He said there wasn't any conflict there, but they just didn't meet, I guess. But they started drifting apart, and they decided mutually that they were gonna break up.
And he starts choking up, and he's crying, telling the story. And he says that he just remembers pulling out of the driveway and her standing there watching him leave, and she's just crying. And he said he had a lot of guilt.
Yeah, and then he blamed himself for that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I want to know all the deets. I'm like...
He didn't go into it either.
No.
I felt like it was very vague on all the dates.
It kind of felt like it was rather fresh.
Yeah, he said
Still.
it wasn't that long ago, so.
So, I mean, if I was Rachel, I would be more concerned about if he still has feelings.
Kind of a red
her.
flag. Yeah.
He was saying how if he didn't feel it with her, or if he didn't feel like he was ready to propose, he said that he wouldn't get down on one knee. And so that gave her a little bit of a
Like, doubt
yeah.
about it. He also said that he liked her a lot, but, like, he was on the path to love, but he didn't say I'm falling in love with you or I'm in love with you, but he's on that path where it could happen, which all the other guys have said, I think pretty much, like, I'm falling in love with her. So,
and I'm
kinda weird
thinking,
here.
thinking what his ex
Yeah,
has something to do with him not falling so quickly.
something must have happened.
That's just my woman's intuition. But he gets the rose.
Which leaves only one rose for the 3-on-1.
Yes, and the group date is next, and that would be Eric, Matt, and Adam.
With this date, they got on a boat to go
To France.
And I'm guessing they did a lot of sightseeing, but we didn't get to really see a lot of this date either. They kind of like jumped right to
It
it.
was rather choppy, I feel.
Yeah, this
We didn't
episode
see
was
anything.
this episode was weird. But she talked to Eric first. They just had a one-on-one, so their connection's still like fresh and everything. And he's just saying like, I know how hard this is for you, and
She makes him really happy.
right, and just talking about their feelings for each other, basically. Nothing much. They hug, that's it, and then she has a conversation with Matt, and this is literally like the longest time we've ever heard Matt speak. And
They were so, like,
he was so nice.
I'm like, where's he been?
And he was just saying like, I want you to be happy. I want to be part of that happiness. I want you to find what you're looking for. And she was saying like how he reminds her so much of herself, and she starts crying.
I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, when she just had this
She's
look
like,
on her face.
He reminds me of myself, and I'm like, oh shit, he gone.
So she starts crying, and she's just like, I just feel like I can't keep you here when I have stronger connections with the rest of the guys. He understood. She walked him back to the car, and they had a little goodbye kiss. And in the car, he was like, well, I still wish her the best, and I still hope she, finds what she wants. And I hope to see him on one spin-off show, because he was just too nice to leave out. He needs to find a girl.
Well, like, we didn't even get to know him until like the last 5 minutes.
Right, and I'm
I'm
like,
like, where were you?
he would have been one of my favorites. Why wasn't he shown more? I mean, it's the last 6 people. I mean, really?
Then they go to dinner. Adam is feeling really good, and him and Rachel are talking, and he's like, can you see yourself falling in love with me? And she's like, yeah, that's why you're here. I'm like, what do you think you're doing here, dude?
You're in the last 5, Adam. I think it's safe to say that.
It's okay.
He was just basically telling her how much he would love to bring her home to his family, and how he thinks they have such a good, relationship and connection. And she's feeling good with Adam, it seems like, at this point.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about him, but apparently they have a connection.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys knew that.
She was like, we have a really good connection. I'm like, do you?
Where was this? I'm just really upset we didn't get to see more of Adam and Matt when they made it so far.
Yeah, which is really weird, because usually you have seen quite a bit of the people who are left at this
Right.
point. So then she talks to Eric, and he's saying that his family would love her, but that he grew up in a bad area, and most of the men in his family kind of went down the wrong path.
Said there was a lot of, like criminal activity, a lot of drugs.
But he said where he grew up, that's just
Normal.
what was life.
Yeah.
So that's sad. He said he had to figure out life on his own because of the situation that he grew up in.
He also said that he has never brought a girl home, ever. Which is understood after learning about his home. She felt a little doubt with him after that, but we understood why.
Yeah. She was just like, he's this old and he's never brought a girl home. But if that was his life, I'm sure that's just not what you would want to.
Exactly.
So they had a good talk. They both had a good talk. At this point, I'm like, because she's just saying how wonderful Adam is and how
yeah, she's really talking him up.
So I'm like, wow, okay, maybe he's gonna stay.
And she's just saying how she doesn't know about Eric, but it's decision time, and she has to choose one of them because there's only one rose. So she comes down there and she says how difficult of a decision it's been. And the rose goes to
Eric.
Which we figured.
Yeah.
Because we don't know who Matt is. Adam.
Before this episode even started, we were talking, okay, the 3-on-1s is going to be Peter, Dean, and Brian, and poor Matt and Adam are out of here.
Yeah, we already knew that. We haven't seen anything about them, and she definitely has connections with the other 4 guys, so we knew it was going to happen, but she made it seem like it was so hard to say goodbye to them that we were like,
why?
Maybe they're going to stay, I don't know. But Adam left, and he was like, she just made this big mistake, and that's kind of how the episode left off.
If she would have just met his family, it would have made all the difference.
Which maybe it might have, but we don't know what their connection was like.
But next week is going
Intense.
to be good.
Oh my gosh, next week's going to be awesome.
So if you missed this episode, you really didn't miss a whole lot. But don't miss next week.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Hometowns.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, Dean's dad is a genie.
So we were watching the previews and just saying how his father was, eccentric. I had to emphasize
eccentric. And we didn't know what he was trying to say.
Yeah, so we're watching the previews and I go, oh my god, his dad's a genie. Now we know.
He seriously looked like such a hippie house. He had super long hair and a thing on his head, and they were sitting on big pillows, and it was just his dad looked like he had a real temper too, and Dean was crying.
Oh my god, he's crying hysterical.
And I was like, I love him so much, and it just looks like he had such a rough hometown date, which he was scared of the whole time, and it just makes me feel so bad. It also looked like maybe Rachel's family isn't into Brian.
One of her family members said that he's kind of a smooth talker.
Yeah, she was like, I don't know that he's genuine.
And I'm like, girl, I got you. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. And then they show us a short clip of her walking into Eric's, and she stops.
She looks kind of scared.
She looks kind of scared. But I have a feeling that's all gonna go good.
Yeah, but I don't know. Dean's hometown looks rough.
Oh, poor Dean. I love you, Dean. I love you.
But But next week's gonna be really good and probably have more to say. But this week, not a lot happened, and we knew Adam and Matt were gonna go home, so it's fine.
So if you like this video, give it a like, thumbs up. We really appreciate it.
Subscribe.
Oh yes, please subscribe.
To see more of this. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.